This is Chris Morrow at Comic-Con at Home. I'm on my boat behind the San Diego Convention Center. And this panel is Spirit Skies, How to Publish an International Youth Comic in the Age of COVID-19. So how are you doing?
We're doing great. We just saw it at 6 o'clock, and we were really, really super happy of how well it went. We're really, really proud of how it went. It's just really,
That's great.
I'm great.
Do you mind introducing yourselves and tell me where your home is?
My name is Timothy Stiven, and I teach at the Envision Conservatory for the Humanities at Canyon Crest Academy, and I live in Rancho Penasquitos in San Diego.
My name is Michaela. I'm an artist. This is my second year on the project, and I live in Carmel Valley.
Hi, I'm Grace, and this was my third year on the project, and next year I'll be going to Brown University, and I live right now. I'm at home at Carmel Valley, San Diego.
My name is John. I'm an editor for Spirit Skies, and I also live in Carmel Valley in San Diego.
Hi, my name is Francis. I'm also an editor for Spirit Skies, and right now I'm in my home in Carlsbad.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm also an editor for Spirit Skies. This is my first year on the project, and I'm at home in Carmel Valley.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm also an editor for Spirit Skies, and it's also my first year on the project, and I'm currently at home in Carmel Valley.
Hi. I think that's oh, there you go. One more.
Yep. Hi, I'm Alex French Goldstein. I'm going into my third year in the humanities program, and I'm at home in Del Mar, San Diego.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And please tell me about the panel. How did it go?
Okay, I'm not going to talk. I want to hear from you guys because I was watching you guys, and it was really just great to see how passionate you were and how well prepared you were. So, John, go ahead. What do you think?
I think, I mean, obviously we all worked on it, so we kind of knew what was being said. So the most interesting part for me was seeing how the finished product turned out as far as incorporating the graphics into it, which I think made it much more interesting than it would have been had it just been a Zoom call with all of us, just our faces, you know.
You mean like this?
Yeah. Not that this is uninteresting, but pictures make everything more interesting.
Yeah.
Michaela, talk about the art that got in, because I thought that was really great.
The video that I put in? Or,
Yeah.
So we wanted some B-roll that was like more interesting than just some normal pictures that were on the panel. And then, so we had the artists find like old recordings of the art, of their art process, and then we put those in. And then I also recorded something that is now the 2020 Spirit Skies cover. I recorded the beginning of that painting, and we also put that into the panel. And like, it was pretty simple. You just find a recording software, and then you record as you paint.
Yeah,
Anybody
I really
else?
enjoyed watching Michaela and the process because I actually didn't get to see her process of making it, because usually when we're doing art during school or something, we're kind of sitting next to each other and watch each other paint. We can see the whole process, but like this time I like didn't get to see any of it, and I saw the final cover and I was like, oh my god, that looks amazing. And we were all kind of like gathered around our TV watching it on the big screen. It was really exciting.
I would just add also, I think when I was watching the panel, I was trying to think, you know, what about this is unique to doing it in the online format that we weren't ever able to do before in any of our presentations or panels. And I thought the part with Giovanna with the subtitles was really cool, because the fact that you could just watch her speaking, you didn't have to go through another translator, made it more engaging in that part.
Yeah, that really helped the flow. When putting it together, we had like a variety of some technical difficulties and other things. We had to do some retakes and stuff. So seeing how, as John talked about, how it all turned out after editing and post-production and everything, was a really cool experience for, I think, all of us.
How
Anybody
about you,
else?
Sarah? We haven't heard from you about the project.
I mean, this was my first year, and just seeing kind of all of our efforts culminated in one video was really, really exciting. I just really enjoyed watching everyone kind of speak cohesively about what this project has meant to us and kind of how we got stuff done, especially this year among such extenuating circumstances. And I thought that having it virtually was also just really, really interesting because I talk a lot in the panel about making Spirit Skies accessible for everyone. And I think that having it virtually, having this panel virtually, like at home, Comic-Con at home as a YouTube video, also really ties into that accessibility aspect. And it's really showing us kind of, okay, this is maybe how we're going to have to do things moving forward. But there are definitely positive aspects to it. So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, and another positive about the virtual format was last year's panel. A lot of my friends were like, oh, it's at Comic-Con, like there's no way I'm going to be able to make it and like get a ticket. But now with it being online and also free for everyone to watch, my parents and we sent it out to like all our friends, all our relatives. And while the panel was going, my like aunts and uncles were texting my mom like notes on it as they were watching it in real time, which is just really cool.
Yeah. That accessibility was one thing I think that Comic-Con should try to incorporate into their into the organization going forward. It was really nice to be able to promote it and like across a variety of social media platforms, etc. And not have to worry about like, oh, if you're going to Comic-Con, please come see this. It's just, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Please see this. It's free. There's a lot of bonuses to this online, and especially it's just free to watch format.
Yeah,
So you
agreed.
feel that online you're not getting hidden at all because you're being seen, and it gives you that opportunity to actually have a large audience. How large was your audience?
I think the live at the end was we had 120 live views
That's great.
I think, yeah. So I mean, and that's the other thing about Comic-Con. There's that idea that we're there and then had a panel last year, but I think we had maybe 30 people in the panel, which was we were super happy, that was great. But to have 200 people actually see it, and then I was going to add one more thing. While it was going on, I got a live hit on my LinkedIn from a teacher from Panama who was watching and called immediately and wanted to do wants to connect and is ready to collaborate. Guys, just to let you know, he's from Ciudad Saber, where we were staying, and so it was great. So I'm happy. Alex, what do you want to say?
Oh yeah, I was just going to add one more thing about the accessibility element. I think that one of the really interesting things about the very topsy-turvy time in which we live, that a lot of the things that we're used to doing, aren't really accessible. A lot of we're not able to access a lot of things that we're just used to normally doing in our daily lives. But with Comic-Con at home, being virtual as opposed to being in person, I feel like that actually expanded the accessibility of our panel and our discussion and what we were trying to talk about and get across relative to last year when we did it in person. So I think that that's very interesting how we had more people watching, more connections, things like that, in a time when our accessibility to things is greatly reduced. But here our accessibility was broadened, as it were. So I thought that was a very interesting thing.
Does this change things for you for next year moving forward on how you're going to be doing some of your processes?
It's a interesting question. I think that one thing is that the plan is, well, it's ready to publish. And so the plan was actually to have it published over the summer, but the print went down and the presses went down. So I think we might be able up again in the fall. So for next year, the plan would be actually to have a booth. It'd be that changing that aspect of being on the floor. So it's not to say that we won't apply to be on another panel, but the next step is actually to get the next volume published. And so there's another step that will continue.
I would say also, every time we do one of these panels, we kind of refine our message and our process a little more. And it also is a way to get the people who've just started in conservatory, like Sarah and Josh, much more feeling much more incorporated into the actual process of the project. So like Mr. Stuyvesant said, if we're going to have a booth on the floor or even just another panel, it's going to be better off next year because we did this and because we were willing to be adaptable to Comic-Con at home.
Yeah.
Is everyone going to be involved this year or next year in this project, or will some of you be moving on? Sorry, Francis, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I was just going to talk about how with the pandemic and everything going on, we're definitely going to lean into the online classroom format and kind of do more community outreach that way, which has kind of been a positive for us because, again, we can reach more people. And to answer your question, yeah, we have seniors that are leaving us this year. And since this is a legacy project, started like around 5-ish years ago, I would say, everyone who spoke on the panel today, we weren't here, except for Mr. Stuyvesant, when the project first started. But we still feel a connection to the like original students because we are kind of bound together by this story that we created. And I think the cool thing about Spirit Skies is once you're in it for life. Like I'm always gonna consider myself a Spirit Skies team member. And that just speaks a lot to the passion we have, not just for the book itself, but for the message that the book carries. Like we all want to carry on this message of environmental stewardship, and we're ready to keep that going on and keep passing on this legacy.
What would you tell other schools or other, I guess, kids, what they could do to emulate what you're doing? I mean, would you, things that you could recommend, how they would be able to start something like this?
I would say just go for it. Like, I think a lot of times when you're a student, when you're like younger, you tend to psych yourself out. But, just if you have a dream, just go for it and get out there and do it. And I'll guarantee you that there is a whole community of people who want to do that same thing as you. And, maybe they just need someone else to reach out to them too. And there's no better time than now because we're all just stuck at home. So might as well connect on the internet with people. And
I think also,
yeah,
to build on what Francis said too, a big part of our message is anyone can do this. But by this, I assume mean write a graphic novel, right? It doesn't have to be on the scale we did it of, over 5 years, all these people. It could be an artist and a writer or a single writer artist. But I would say probably if you want to do something on this scale and size, with a class or multiple classes, it's important to have the support of your teachers and coordinators, first of all, which is what we have. And I think something we've learned over the years in the collaborative process is that it's important to make sure that both sides feel like they're given and are given equal say and a voice in everything. And that there's not, one person or one side or one group or whatever who's kind of the dominant voice, because, a graphic novel is half art and half writing. It's not, there can be sometimes when it's more one or the other, but in essence, it's a combination of these two elements. So
he's been to all these panels before about the fighting between the artists and the writers.
Yeah.
Do you all agree with that it's half heart?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and I would agree with, any advice moving forward to anyone who wants to contribute to this on an art scale. Like, having a team, of course, is the most important to me, because being able to rely on sort of other people when I'm sort of in a rut, maybe I really don't know what to draw for this page, or I'm having a bit of trouble doing this one-line art, I can always count on Michaela or the other people on our art team to sort of, even out the work and pull ideas from. And even on the humanities side, we contribute to some of the ideas on the writing side, and they also give us feedback on, maybe the hummingbird can be larger here so that it looks more scientifically accurate, or, maybe change the colors so that there's continuity throughout the novel. So I think for me, as long as you have sort of people supporting you on all sides, this is definitely a possibility.
I just want to add one last thing, is that students chose to make the image and the illustration painterly. And we had a long discussion at the beginning if we were going to do a line drawing, because this honestly can be done a lot more quickly if it's just a couple of splash pages with color and the rest could be in black and white. So when the idea of if there's a school that wants to do this, they don't have to have this be tech heavy. This is very simple to do. It's if you want to be passionate and you want to have to, get that product out.
Yeah.
I also want to add, like, the overhead costs, because you're a student, it's a lot lower. So, like, you can try out and be a lot more experimental as a student and take on, like, things that maybe someone who is a professional who's making a living out of this wouldn't be able to.
Right.
So that leads to a lot of, like, really interesting results.
I think to elaborate on kind of what Mr. Sivan says, was saying, and actually a little bit of what John was saying, this a graphic novel is really easily scaled to the amount of effort and resources you have to put into it. We had a large team of a lot of dedicated, really great artists, and so we ended up with a really artistically impressive work. But if you don't have as large a team, you can choose. There's a lot of different art styles you can use that might be simpler or more cost effective, and it doesn't. And even the duration of the book, you don't need to write it as if there will be a sequel. So it kind of, the work you put into this kind of project is what you get out of it.
I guess in a way there's kind of a dual message in what we've done, what people in this project have done over the years, in that part of it should be an example of how you can successfully have a collaboration between different people with different skill sets and mentalities, and how you can have that kind of collaboration successfully, no matter what you're doing. It doesn't even have to be in the arts or humanities, could be in STEM, robotics, anything like that. But the other side of things is how to, as a high schooler, write a comic book, which is what everyone has been touching on here, and is why we're at Comic-Con.
I think it's crucial never.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, no.
Go ahead, Sarah. You're good.
Thank you. I just think it's crucial never to underestimate the power of reaching out to your community and kind of the local support systems that you have. So your teachers are incredible mentors, and if you can find like a great support system there, that's super helpful. But then also reaching out to local bookstores or local publishing companies or local libraries and schools to really make it, one of the things that we really emphasize with Spirit Skies is making it more than just a graphic novel, because it is also an educational tool. So reaching out to the community and really just falling back and relying on that support system and never underestimating the value of that support system is super, super crucial, I feel, in really developing the project into something greater.
Anybody else have anything else to add? Well, thank you guys. This was great. I'm Chris Morrow, remotely connected from home this year, and we miss you, and we'll be back soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.